Now, for those of you that have used daycare before, did anyone have a loved one who didn't really talk a whole lot at home, but then started going to daycare and they became a chatterbox? Any of those experiences in here? Because we see that happen frequently too, where someone, you know, what do you talk, when you sit at home all day with each other, what do you talk about? Well, now somebody goes to the center, they are engaged with people all day long, and they come home and now they have something to talk about. I remember one daughter who said, you know, dinner time at her house, Dad used to sit there and never say a word. They ate, you know, the husband and wife might talk, but Dad started coming to daycare, and all of a sudden he was part of the conversation at dinner because he had something to talk about at the end of the day. So it really does open people up, because I know Helen's program and Cindy's program, we're all the same. It's a no-fail environment. We don't put people on the spot. Most of the things we do, like crossword puzzles, they're on big pieces of paper, and we do it as a group. And we don't point people out so that they feel like, oh my God, I don't know the answer to that. Usually what happens is someone will say, does someone know a 5-letter word for whatever? And it just pops out of somebody's mouth, and you kind of see them go, oh, I knew that. Yeah. So, you know, we try and make it very no-feel that they feel very comfortable.
Right. And we give clues too, a lot of clues. It rhymes with, or it sounds like, and sometimes we don't even have to go there. I mean, it's amazing. There's all this stored information, and like you said, sometimes, I know when I wasn't working, I felt like, you know, gosh, I'm losing my senses, I'm losing all of this information that I had, and then getting out and being social. So that's really, it's almost magnified in isolation, and for caregivers also. You know, it's like, it's magnified what's not being done. And then when you get out into a social crowd, one lady, she said, how long does he sleep there? And I said, who? And she said, my husband. And I was like, oh my God, I wish you could be in the other room. I said, because he doesn't. Well, he doesn't talk at home, and he'll fall asleep and, you know, reading the paper. I said, oh, well, I said, you know, we read the paper as a group. We're reading headlines, and oh, what do you think about this one, and who do you think about that? And that's where, I mean, if I sit long enough, I'm going to fall asleep, you know, so, yeah.
Helen, would you give me an example of that word association? Give me a test.
Let's see. Well, what rhymes with, let's see, wing?
Ding.
That could be, and so you know what, and let's see, not ding, not wing, la 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 la, la 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 la. There you go, see, perfect.
Sting.
There's a lot, see?
Yeah, I have a question. How about showering, and if they have accidents, what can you do?
We don't have showers at Ardent Manor, but we do ask the caregivers to bring a change of clothes and some undergarments. And sometimes it's not even a toileting accident. It could be while they're painting or at lunch. And nobody wants to sit in wet clothes or dirty clothes. So our guests have the same environment, same treatment as anyone else. It'd be like, you know what, let's go change that. That would be uncomfortable. And we don't make a big deal of it. We have staff that are wonderful. We have wipes, we clean up, and we also have a change of undergarments and clothes.
We're lucky enough to have a shower.
You do?
Yeah, we have a shower.
I didn't know that.
After the first center, we knew we needed a shower at the second center. One of our goals was to provide bathing services as part of what we do. Well, when we moved into the new building and we filled up so quickly, when we had 40 people in the building during the day, we have 4 bathrooms. There was no way we could tie up that room, the shower room, because there's also a restroom in there. So, but we have it in case someone has an accident, or we do have people every once in a while where they don't think they need to bathe because they have nothing to do and they're not going anywhere. So they haven't bathed in a while, and the family's having some difficulty with it. In those instances, we will step in and hopefully give someone a shower, because sometimes they'll do things for us that they won't do for you guys. And incontinence, we as long as it's manageable, we have folks that are incontinent. A lot of our folks come in and they aren't, but as time goes on, it's an unfortunate part of the disease process. It starts to happen. And that leads into the next benefit of adult daycare is we all have to have nurses in our programs. So your loved one is being seen by a nurse every single day that they're there. And we can catch things so quickly sometimes. I can usually figure out a urinary tract infection before it shows up in their blood work or their urinalysis because of the change that I see in somebody. So, you know, we're there, we're seeing things, simple things like someone needs their toenails cut or their fingernails trimmed. You know, you as caregivers have so much on your plates. You know, when someone comes to me and says, you know, my shoes are bothering me, and I take their shoe off and their toenails are about that long because they've stopped cutting them, and you as a caregiver don't necessarily know that they've stopped cutting their toenails. We can be the eyes and ears of you sometimes. And then also working with the physicians, you know, talking about, you know, when you go in and the person has some behavioral issues, and, you know, there's some physicians out there that will say things like, well, we don't want to put them on this medicine because they might get addicted to it. Well, if your loved one's behavior is causing you so much stress, causing the center where they're going to, where they're saying, we can't take care of them like this, they're not going to become addicted to anything, but they need something to help make them calm and more comfortable in their own body so they can continue to function comfortably.
Right. And one of the last things we don't, as you can see in the video, and if you come to any of our centers, we don't want people medicated and sleeping through their day. It's dangerous for them, and it's dangerous for the staff that are taking care, not dangerous for the staff, but it's dangerous, it's harder to take care of someone who's incapacitated or their balance is off, so we don't medicate them and stick them in a chair. That's not what we do, and that's not what we want to do. But sometimes, you know, working with the doctors, the caregivers, the centers, there can be a little bit of a balance, and that's what we really strive for, because we love to have our folks engaged and participating. We learn so much from our guests, and they make our day. You know, we don't make their day. That's what we really, I mean, you know, we tell everyone it's like coming into Cheers. It's like, hey! Yeah. We love to, I mean, so to have people engaged is our goal, not sedated. So, but sometimes that's a necessary, you know,
just for their own general well-being.
Right, so. Anxiety.
Question?
Yeah, if you have someone, a loved one that doesn't want anything to do with daycare, doesn't think they need it, doesn't even want to consider it, two questions. Do you have any suggestions on how to suggest to them that it might be a good experience? Oh, there's a handout.
That was the next thing I was going to get to.
On time, you would have gotten a handout.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's what do you do when you get them in there to help them overcome that?
Well, what we try and do on the initial contact with you is find out what they're like. That's one of the first questions I ask. What is your loved one like? What can they do? What can't they do? It gives us a sense of where they're at in the disease process. Then when someone says, well, you know, I don't think, you know, whomever is going to like this, were they ever a volunteer? Did they ever volunteer to do anything? Because most of our folks come in as volunteers. They think they're there volunteering. We put volunteer on their name tag. We give them little tasks to do if they can still do them. Because a lot of them think they can still do things, and in reality they can't. But sometimes, you know, we give them the job of folding napkins. We have boxes of envelopes stuffed with letters that need to be unstuffed because somebody made a mistake, and we need to get them all out. Then a week later we have to stuff the envelopes for this mailing or whatever. So there's all kinds of things. So us knowing, you know, some of the questions that we ask you guys, I'm sure you're like, why are they asking that? Pets. Do you have pets? How many children are there? You know, grandchildren. Whatever we can hold on to. You know, that person's not here. We actually had a gentleman who loved to dance. He came to the center to teach everybody how to dance. Now we do have music every single day. The very first day he came, we let him do his thing, and he came very willingly after that. It's usually just once they get over that first hump of being there. You know, after the first day is never a gauge of how well someone's going to do, because I say this all the time. I get invited to events to speak or be around people that I don't know. I'm very uncomfortable about it. I'm so nervous about it. It's always an awful experience. Now, if you told me I had to do that every single day, I'd be like, oh God. But once I get to know the people, then it's not a bad experience anymore. Most of our folks early on, you know, only come a couple of days a week, but as time goes on, do I go to the center today? You know, we have families who say on Mondays, oh, they ask about going to the center all weekend long, because they get used to it. It's almost like they're getting up and going to work. So we have all kinds of ways to introduce someone to the program. If they love bingo, we're going to play bingo the day that person is there, and they are going to win a prize. No matter how that happens, we will make sure they win a prize playing bingo. So it's just knowing their personality.
Yeah. And giving someone a sense of purpose. I mean, you figure we've all had somewhere to be, someone needed us, a group of people needed us, whether we were a mom at home or a business executive, somebody needed us to be there. So they have a sense of purpose, they're treated with dignity. And like you said, it could be, initially it could be because of this reason. And I always like, if someone will come in for a tour, I'll be like, do you see why we need some singers? Oh my God, could I use your help? You know, it's like, the guest that's coming to us, we need them more than they need us. It'd be like, oh, if your family will let you come and help us out, we would love it. Talk to your family and let them be in charge, quote unquote. You know, they have some say in where they're going. And I mean, in the meantime, we're all working together for the common cause, respite for you and engagement for them. But we can say, you know what, talk to your family about it, see what works for you, check your schedule. Because again, we're treating them like an adult, like a person with dignity, because that's what they are. Why all of a sudden, because we're older, that we should be treated any less? You know, so that's what we keep in mind here.